Ready to rock?
Let's rock.
Welcome to the Outrunners podcast. I am your host, Taylor Rockwell. You can call me Tay Rock. With me, I have my lovely, beautiful, amazing 5 out of 5, fantastic. You'll never meet a better runner, a better woman, a better everything. Moab manager, Katia.
Hello. My name is Kitia, and you can call me Kitia. Strawberries. Wait, hold
Okay.
on a minute. I'm on a high because I just ran. I'm on a high. I have a runner's high, so
Uh,
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just woke up and it's 12 o'clock. So I have a freshly well slept mentality. So I'm ready to spit some knowledge that I just got in my dreams. First
Excited.
and foremost, Katia ran yet again another ultra. Dun 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 dun.
I'm sorry.
Okay, tell us about this one because this one's really unique. It's like not really your traditional ultra.
So in January, I ran my first ever ultramarathon, and that was like official one, and that was the same as this one. So I just went back because there was a winter edition and this was the summer edition. And it's basically through woods, like a trail run, and it's for 6 hours. And then you do loops, and one loop is 6.2 kilometers approximately, or 3.8 miles. And then you just do as many loops as you can. And I was just running. I did 9 loops, which is like 55 kilometers or 34 miles, something like that. And I got first place.
That's our girl.
Yay!
Do-do-do-do.
For the first time, I have never got first place. And yeah, I got first place female. I was 9th overall, but first place female. And yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very proud of
Aw.
myself. Thank you very much.
Aw, my girl makes me so proud. Okay, we already kind of debriefed this, so I want you to talk about one thing, and it was the community aspect. This is a huge 180, 360, 522 turn from everything I know about you. Well, everything I knew about you. I feel like this is who you truly are. I feel like you were just kind of distant from that for a while, but I want to talk to you about community because what you had told me is that you were out there, you were yapping to people, good morning, the sun is shining, you're saying, how are you, good job, runner, you're slapping hands, you're telling everyone, good job, you're stopping, making sure people are okay if they have a flat tire on the side of the trail, you're like doing your best to be interactive, everyone's telling you how beautiful you are, how engaging you are, everyone's like, wow, you're so happy, you make it look easy. From when I met you, we ran the Honolulu Marathon, you were like, Taylor, stop talking to people. They don't
Stop
want to talk
sending
to
those people towards me. I don't want to speak to nobody. I'm just
Yeah.
standing there. I was like, I'm okay to be on my own. Okay, you don't need to send people my way for them to speak to me. I'm like, I'm cool.
Yeah, so I want to hear like your experience. What has like motivated the change? What do you like about it now? Do you not like about it? Do you see yourself continuing to do it? Like bring me in this picture, and paint the picture for everybody else who you might want to encourage to do something similar or different than what you're doing.
Okay, I think the best way for me to paint the picture, I guess, is to just like go from the very beginning of when I started running. So I wasn't in the best relationship at the time. So I was not kind of like allowed to be around people or speak to people. Let's just say that. And then I think I just kind of got used to not doing it. And I was just in my own bubble and I was just doing what I was doing. And then I got out of the relationship and it just like, but it still stuck with me, like not really talking to people. So I just kept doing it. I was just like quiet and I would not speak to people or anything like that. And then I met Taylor Rockwell. And we both went to Hawaii and then we met. And I don't know, well, I think everyone knows that Taylor is just like this sunshine golden retriever, like happy go lucky girl. And she's just like, I don't know, I feel like when she walks in a room, like it shines and she just attracts great people and like she just chats and everything. And then I'm just like in the corner standing there, please don't talk to me. And then Taylor would be like, oh, this is my friend Katia. She just came from UK. And she would just introduce me to people. And like, I was like, I don't know. I don't speak to people. I don't know how I feel about it. And anyways, by the end, I think I started getting better in a way, but I think it's still like I had a lot of, well, probably insecurity because I wasn't very confident at the time. And that was December, like so 6 months ago, 7 months ago. And then I came back to England and the whole environment here is different than States. So I was still like a little bit, I wouldn't really talk to people or anything like that. And I remember the first time in running, I really started talking to people was in March when I was running the half marathon. Remember, I was telling you that I was running past people and I was like, good job, or something like that. And I would be talking to people. And I remember I shared with you that like it kind of saying the words out to somebody else also helped me. And I was like, this is interesting. So then now I have started saying hi to people when I run past
Aw.
them. Maybe I don't like say hi, but you kind of like wave at them or whatever. And then, yeah, going into this ultra when I was running, and if I would like run past anyone or something like that, I would just say, like, good job, runner. Or if they would run past me, I would say the same thing, good job, runner. And then there is this like really, really nice lady. Her name is Jill, and I met her at Loop. I was Loop 5, she was Loop 4, and I was just running. She was like 60, 70 years old, probably. And I was running past her, and I was like, good job, girl. He's just like, oh my God, thank you so much. I think she was like, you're doing so great. I was like, you are doing great as well. And then she asked me what loop I'm on. And I was like, I'm on loop 5 and she was on loop 4, which is like about 30 kilometers, which in miles is like 18 miles, which is a lot. And yeah, I would just talk to people and then sometimes they would talk to me. And then like, because sometimes this was like a very narrow path. And if I would like feel somebody behind me, I would ask them, like, do you want to go past me? And then you kind of like just start the conversation naturally. Oh, going back to like on the first loop, there was this like me and this girl. We were kind of like not fighting for the first spot, but kind of like we were in girls' lead. And then at some point she started talking to me and we were just like kind of like having a conversation. She was like, why are you running in the jacket? And I was like, I'm heat training. And then we kind of got into conversation about how, people don't heat train and then they suffer when in Europe the heat waves come. Like it's just sharing experiences, it's just sharing stories. And like she was asking me what I'm training for and I was asking her, and then she was like, yeah, I'm just coming back from injury and things like that. It's just fun. I don't know, it just went fast really quickly. And then, yeah, I was just like, I spent the whole day meeting people on the trail and just like, good job, good job. And then I spoke to volunteers and they were so amazing. They were like, oh my God, girl, you're just like, on loop 5, there was this girl. She was like, you look like you're on a loop 1. I was like, yeah, that's how I'm tricking my brain into thinking I'm on loop 1. And then at some point she started running because she was like, there was this spot and she just had like her chair there. And then one time I was running and she was just like running little loops around her chair. I was like, come on, like you should come with us. She was like, you inspired me to like run as well. I'm just sitting here looking everyone running past me. And I don't know, it was just fun. It just added fun to it. And also like I just thought like what can happen? Like if somebody doesn't say anything to me, it's like it's no hard feelings. Like not everybody needs to speak to me, and the same way it goes around. Like if somebody would speak to me and I would not feel like having a full on conversation, I don't know, just don't engage.
How do you feel like it has changed your experience or like the energy or frequency during your races in your performance?
I think it just makes my experience definitely better in a way that like I was just, running, and then if I would run past somebody or whatever, I would be like, good job. There's this guy, he was like, oh my God, you're so fast, you're like a lightning. I was like, yeah, it's a great day to be out. Like it's just like changing the perspective of like maybe he was suffering at the time, and then I was just, what better can you want just running in the woods like for 6 hours? It's just like, it's great, it's amazing. And I think it just like adds the playfulness, is that a word, is it? Yeah, to it. Like it's because at the end of the day, it's just we're just kids running in the woods. That's how I see it. And then when I don't know if when you was a kid and you would go to like a playground, you would talk to other kids and then you would just have fun and you would just like play together and stuff. That's how I feel now. If you remember from previous episode, not previous, the one before with Rob, when we were just talking about like time doesn't actually matter anymore. It's just like having the experience. And I think removing the time from the whole thing and like the like I don't know, I want to hit this distance or whatever. It's just like have fun. Because I also like on the last loop I was running and I felt somebody behind me and I was like, oh, do you want to go past me? Because it was again like a very narrow path. He was like, no, no, you good or whatever. And it was like in the beginning of the ninth loop. And he just kind of started talking to me and I was like, we were just having a conversation. He was asking me like what loop I'm on. And then I was saying I'm on the loop 9. He was like, oh, I'm on the loop 8. And I was like, yeah, I'm just thinking like, do I sprint now and try and get the 10th loop in, or do I just like enjoy the last loop? And he was like, yeah, you should probably enjoy. I was like, yeah, I'm thinking the same. So then I was literally stopping at every volunteer, having a conversation with them, just appreciating them and everything. And then at some point, this guy passed me, and then I was running up to him because he started walking like 100 meters before the finish line. And I ran up to him, was like, do not let me pass you. And he just looked at me and started running. And we literally sprinted to the very end. And then at the end, he was like dying. He was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. You're crazy. And I was just like, good job, runner. And then there's like a video as well I made. Like I was just recording myself and you can see he's dying at the end. Like he was like, oh my God, this was so hard. But it just like, I don't know. It was fun because we were just running together and I was just saying, this is too easy. Like just trying to take off his mind of like, I don't know, maybe he was suffering at the time. For me, it has changed the perspective. Like it's not that big of a deal. At the end of the day, it's just us running outside. Like there's no prize at the end that you need to win. It's just we're having fun. And I think it just like removes the pressure. And I still got the first place and I wasn't even trying. Like I wasn't really, oh my God, I need to be faster or whatever. Like I was just like, if I needed to stop, I would stop, and it's not that deep.
Yeah, I think for me, I learned that when you're having more fun, you perform better anyway. And we always talk about like no expectations, but if the expectation is just to have fun and enjoy,
Mm.
then in itself, like you just said, your performance performs at its peak. And it's kind of like a energy or a frequency, like what you choose to put your mind at. And I kind of have been having a lot of this through Moab. A lot of people, I feel, have been putting a lot of their like opinions on like what I should be doing, how I should be doing it, like am I not doing enough, or they'll ask me things like what happens in these scenarios, and they're always like negative scenarios. And I find that like recently I've been having to be very aware of those conversations and to be mindful not to absorb them, because I think just naturally rooted in like how humans interact stems from a place of negativity or insecurity. And almost like if you're out there on the course just speaking positive into existence,
Mm.
it like almost is like a cheat code to make the experience good. And like, yeah, like if you're ever in a
It is.
situation where like this sucks, it's like we'll just start talking about how good it is. It's like when we're running the rock and roll marathon together and like we're going up the highway to hill and like we're just dying, but we're like laughing and we're like, I love hills, and we're just like being stupid, like doing high knees up the hill and just being like silly. It like, yeah, it still made it like in theory harder because we're exerting so much more energy to scream on the top of our lungs and do high knees. But at the end of the day, it made the experience so much more fun that in a way it made it easier. And I think that's kind of what you're hitting on.
Yeah, for sure. And also, it's just like saying out the words, like you just would say, like, good job, runner. It doesn't necessarily mean that, like, yes, you are saying to somebody else, but you're also saying it to yourself. And it's just like, if you put out the positive energy and you're just like having fun, it's like, because everything's energy. And if you pour good energy out, then how is anything gonna be bad? It's just happy. And that's how I have changed my mindset. And talking about the mom, it's true when you say like people put their insecurities on others, because I feel like a lot of people is a massive, obviously, experience, but like you know what you're doing and what you're capable of, and nobody is in your body, nobody is in your mind, nobody knows how strong you are. So yeah, I just feel like it's so weird when people start putting things on you, like their own insecurities. I'm like, why? What is it there for you? If it comes from, like, I don't know, I feel like if I would come to you and say something, I think it would be a bit different because I'm your friend and I love you and I want you all the best and everything. And I think we can just have a conversation of like whatever. But like if it's like just a random person coming at you and saying you're not doing enough and like what you're gonna do if you don't finish, you're crowdfunding all this money and what if you don't finish? And it's like your mind doesn't even think about that. Like, what do you mean?
To kind of bring everybody into the picture of what's been happening, I've been crowdfunding for Moab 240. I've been juicing watermelon, and it's been kind of a really fun experience. I've been juicing the watermelon, I've been taking it to Run Club, and I've been selling it for donation base. So no expectation, just like anything helps. Honestly, it's been Body Art Run Club Austin. The turnout has been so supportive. Like, I don't want to turn this into a negative thing at all because everybody has been so supportive. The amount of like girls that are just like, hell yeah, for the girls, the men that are like, this is crazy. Like, yeah, here's $5 for a cup of watermelon. I'd love to support whatever. And like the questions they ask me are like very supportive. And so I don't want to give too much highlight to the negative ones, but I have just noticed that there are some people, and it's a small percentage, like maybe 5% of the people, ask me things like, well, I can just tell by how the conversation's going. They're like, so when is it? Like, how many miles? How much time do you have? And I'll be like, oh, we have 112 hours. That's like roughly 4.5 days. And they're like, you can do that? Like, you're ready for it? Like, kind of in like a evil eye sense. And I would just kind of explain, like, oh, yeah, like, whatever. And at this point, I understand that I'm putting a wall of my energy. Like, I'm no longer giving this person a certain energy, but I'll continue the conversation. And then they'll follow up with questions like, well, then what happens if you don't make it in 112 hours? What happens if you don't want to finish anymore? And like, it's just kind of weird because I have found that some people ask these questions and it feels like, you know, when I'm having these conversations, that they're almost like asking in a sense of like they care more about what happens if you don't finish rather than what happens when you finish, right? Like that's where their energy is. And so it can feel like doubtful. And so I don't want to make the whole conversation about that because like I said, it's 5%, but it feels heavier than the other ones that are like, oh, good job, because it is just kind of like, oh yeah, good job. And Katia referenced a experience that I had where a running coach, came into my DMs and said, "Hey Tay, who's training you for Moab?" And I was like, "Tay Rock's training me for Moab. What do you mean?" Like, and he's just like, "Hey, like, have you ever considered coaching?" Long story short, he finally left with like, "Well, I would hate for you to do all of this crowdfunding for you to DNF," which is did not finish for anyone who's new around the ultra space. At that point, I wrote him a voice memo, and the voice memo was essentially me saying like, "Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you caring enough to reach out and want to get me to that finish line. But in addition to that, it's just kind of like running for me isn't like a hobby or a sport. It's more of like a philosophy. And for me, I'm going into it with just wanting to experience what it's like. And let's play worst case scenario where like I am in a position where like I don't think I can finish, or I don't know if the finish line feels like close or like happening or possible, whatever. I think I just like thought about it and I'm like, well, we don't run for podiums. We don't run for the medals. It's like, I know that like whatever happens, we'll get to the end. Even if everybody went home 3 days ago, like, even if it's just like no one else is there except for me and Katia, like, I know that like we'll do it. Like, we'll be two girls out there and we'll finish it. And then when I take that expectation of just like 112 hours. Cutoffs make it fun because it makes it an event. Like, that is what makes a cutoff fun. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not necessarily trying to outrun a clock. I'm trying to run 240 miles through the desert of Moab, which is 300 feet elevation gain higher than Everest. That is what I'm trying to do, not Moab 240, if that makes sense. And so I've had this moment. And even last night, I was talking to Katia and we were on the phone, and I was just like, it's fine. Like, if I needed to start my watch right now, the mile one of 240, I could do it. And now it's just like enjoying. So I've been very like aware of projections that have been coming in. And if I'm being honest, one night it really did affect me. I was really upset and kind of like scatterbrained. It was the night that the coach reached out to me, and I don't think it was like necessarily him that affected me. It was more of like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, just so much of that has been coming in, or like the comments have been weird. I've been having some weird instances where my friend Bryson just ran 100 miles, and he ran 10 loops around Ladybird Lake. Well, as you know, if you listen to this podcast, Katia and I just ran 10 loops around Ladybird Lake a month ago. And watching like our mutual boyfriends, how they treated him versus how they treated me was different. And it was just kind of like, I've just been having these thoughts circulate in my head of just like, wait, what? Like, and so I had to have this come to Taylor moment of like, listen, this is who we are, this is why we run, and this is what we're doing, and like block out all the noise. And ever since I kind of have done the like mind shift of that, then it becomes more of an enjoyable experience. And I think it starts with what Katia was saying, what you say out loud, what you put into the universe, like how you speak to yourself. And I think you really hit the head on the shoulders of like, wait, you really hit the head on the nail of how you talk to others is kind of what you need to hear, but more importantly, it changes the narrative and it changes the energy. It's the same way that there's a person standing in front of me and he's asking me, like, what happens if you don't finish? What happens when the cutoff comes? Whatever. It's like, imagine if he was just saying, what happens if you beat the cutoff? What happens if you're way ahead? It
Hmm.
changes. It's the same question almost, but it changes the energy. So, I just encourage, like, let's say if you're a runner and you're out there, encourage telling people good job, because it changes the energy of just like, if they see you smiling and having fun, it reminds them to smile and have fun. Or if anything, it pisses them off and they're like, why am I not having fun and smiling? And it like is like a mirror that is their mirror. It's not for you to fix, but in a way it's just like a reminder of like, this is fun and we get to. When I fell, I think I talked about it in the last episode, but I fell and I haven't been able to run at my fullest. And since I've been getting back into like what feels like my body, I've been like, oh my God, I get to run. And it's like a whole new experience again of like falling in love with running and like really just being like able and excited to run. To me, it's just like a reminder that I need to stay rooted and stay grounded in my affirmation of why I run. And it's like, I get to, this is fun. We're just kids. We're out on the trail. We're in mountains. We're scraping our knees. We're laughing about it. And we're with our friends. And it's like the shit we get to say when we're old and gray and like laugh about it. Because there was only so much time that we have like bodies capable of doing this. So I think your experience with the ultra, my experience was going on. Overall, the narrative is what I just said. And like, I hope someone listening can take what we're saying and just apply it just a little bit. Next time you're at Run Club, don't say a word. Just give somebody a head, a nod, like I see you. And just see how different it makes you feel and how it makes the people around you feel, the energy of the club.
I think it just shows like how you should. I'm extremely careful with the people I surround myself with. You know, Taylor, I don't let a lot of people in to my energy, basically. I just don't. And that's one of the reasons, because I don't want anyone around me that it's fair for people like have, I don't know, something like questions and stuff, but like as you said, you can tell when the energy is off. And I'm very selective like who I surround myself with, because it's true, like who you surround yourself with is just gonna show up in your like yourself, because like if they put out bad energy towards you, you're gonna absorb it either way. You can absorb bad and you can absorb good energy. And if you have people around you there, yeah, saying like this is gonna be the best experience, and like this is experience of a lifetime. Even for me, I'm not even running the whole thing. I'm gonna be there and like I'm training for it to like, if you need me to run what the whole thing that the paces can run with, I want to be ready and run it. And I'm not running even the 240 miles. And people are like, why would you do that? I'm like, what do you mean? Why wouldn't I? Imagine being out there running through the trails, the mountains, and like all that. That is like, as you said, is like one of the lifetime like experiences. And when you look at it like that, instead of like, what if you don't finish? It's like, it's not about the finish and not finish. Yeah, obviously, as you said, there's like a cut-off time or whatever, but like, that's not the point of the whole thing. So why you, I don't know. It's a weird, like when I started seeing those things, I'm like, I don't know. I believe in you. I know you believe in yourself. And I think like the closest people to you believe in you. And that's all that matters. And I think it's like very, very wise to like just block out all the other noise because like they're just projecting.
In addition to that, my Moab manager has been hassling me to lock in who my crew has been. And it took me a second to truly be like, this is who the crew is, because I was like very mindful of like, I don't know who I'm going to want when I'm at the worst and the best versions of myself. Those people are going to see no ego, no, like they might as well just see me naked down to my soul. Like they're about to see some crazy shit. So who I want to be around me matters more than ever. It took me a second to like solidify what that group was, and then also take into consideration how they would interact and what their chemistry would be, because that would directly affect my performance. And anyway, with that being said, I think we locked in almost the most perfect, beautiful crew that I can think of. We have a couple people that are essentially just like, let me just solidify work, but for the most part, everybody is locked in. So we have Katia as Moab manager slash everything you can think of slash pacer. So she's running the ship around here. We have my videographer Brady, my cameraman McKeon, and then we have our pacers, which is going to be Michael, which is my tattoo artist, which is so rad. He also is an ultra runner. Then we have Bryson, which is my friend who just ran 100 miles around Lady Bird Lake. He also paced Katia and I a loop when we ran our 100-mile journey around Lady Bird Lake. And then I have Charles, which I ran TSP with, which is where you run from Las Vegas to Los Angeles with, and then Esley, and she is a nurse and she also ran TSP with me. So this is going to be like such an elite crew. I can't even think of like a better crew. At this point, now that I've seen my Avengers in front of me, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, like this is it. I couldn't see it so clearly at the beginning, but now that we're here, the team is made, I'm like, this is it. Like, this is the ones. And so when I shared online, I essentially did post online a little bit of my experience. I made a story talking about it, and I made a post. And, you know, a lot of my crew came to me and they're like, what are you talking about? We're not going to let you DNF. Like, and it was like, they're like, what are you even doing talking about it? Kind of reminded me like, oh yeah, I have my right team like with me. And like, nonetheless, it made me like thankful that the crew is going to be here, but also it, like you're saying, it's a lifetime experience that not only I'm going to go through, and I'm thankful that everyone's going to help me get through it, but like, even just for like the crew itself, I know that this is going to be like a magical moment. And it is like the ones where we talk positivity, we talk, you know, all of the words of affirmation to make sure we complete is just important. So yeah, just who are you surrounding yourself with? Are they the right crowd? Do you look at other crowds and feel admired? And if so, does that say something about your crowd? Because that was once me. I once looked at my inner circle and how they talked about running, and it was sometimes, all you do is run. Like, what are you doing? Like, and then I would look at like, let's say another circle, and I would see how more embraced they were. And I was like, I think I'm in the wrong circle. I think I need to, you know, jump circles. So it's just kind of like take this moment to like ask yourself, am I doing enough individually? Am I surrounding myself with the right people? If not, come go to Body Art Run Club and I'll find the right people. Like, I don't know. Like, I'll be there. I'll be cheering you on. And yeah, it's just kind of like, it's more enjoyable when I think Katia said it best, when you just unlock that kid-like energy, but also, like, unlocking kid-like energy, I feel like is such, like, a vulnerable state to be in, and that's not gonna naturally come out unless you're with the right people who you feel safe enough to be a kid with, so
I agree, and I think I just want to add to that that like since I met you, I feel like I'm more myself that I have been ever been, and that's why when I said like I'm very, 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 very selective with the people around me, like, and I'm not gonna speak to somebody I don't like, and that's fair on me. Like somebody's not gonna like me and they're not gonna talk to me, and I'm okay with that. Whatever, yeah, I don't have to like everyone, and everyone doesn't have to like me. And I think running every day, before I would have people around me saying, "Oh, you need to rest, you need to do this," and like having their projections on me. And I would be like, "Yeah, maybe I am doing too much. Maybe running every day is too much. Maybe I shouldn't do that." And then I meet Taylor. She was like, "You were like, oh my God, we should run every single day." And I'm like, "Oh my God, we should run every single day." And now we are running every single day and it's normal. Yeah, maybe we don't run every day like 10 miles or 20 miles or 30 miles, but we still run every single day. And you don't get like a lot of people that do that. And I think like if that's your goal and within yourself, you know that this is what I want to do, it's very important that you surround yourself with the people that like that are the same, that they have the same mindset about things that you want to do. So yeah, I'm very excited about the crew. I only know you and Bryson, so it's gonna be interesting to just like spend so much time with like strangers. But I think everyone is great. Like I haven't met them, but I'm sure you made the right choice, and I fully trust in you, and you are very excited about the crew, and you know everyone, so I know that it's gonna be amazing. And I don't think there's like gonna be, I think we're gonna do amazing. I think it's gonna be like, when you're with running your trauma bond, I think we're gonna bond for life, and it's gonna be like, oh my God, remember like in 30 years, remember we met a Moab and we just did this thing together and it was amazing and everything. And it's just like, yeah, changing the perspective. Instead of putting negative thoughts out there or energy, you just put a good energy out and surround yourself with the right people. And yeah, you never know where it's going to take you and what you're going to experience. So if that's one thing I can suggest anyone to do, is just like make sure you surround yourself with the right people.
Okay, first off, well said. Second off, I remember the first time I saw your kid come out and play. We were like in Hawaii and you were like, nice to meet you. We're meeting each other. Okay, let's go run. Let's go to the supermarket. Let's go do this, whatever. And then like one day I was just laying like on the hotel bed and you like hop on, you're like, I have the zoomies, and you're like boinging around. You're like boing, 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 and you're like jumping on the bed. And you're like, let's go here, let's go get ice cream, let's do this. And then like it was just this moment where I was like, one, like, who's this? But two, I knew that it was like your kid energy, and this was like the first time I'm meeting her. And so it was
Mm.
just kind of this moment where I was like, oh, she feels safe around me. But also, it was like too new to be like, oh, your kid like energy's out without
Yeah.
feeling like you're gonna like immediately go back in your shell. But yeah, I feel like it was like kind of like cute just to see like you be like, oh, like being yourself. Like, because when you're a
Mm.
kid, that's when you're yourself. And yeah, I just thought it was funny moment to share because you talked about it and I was like, yeah, I remember the first time I saw you get zoomies.
Yeah, it's honestly, I feel like I don't know. My brother yesterday, I was just being me. He was like, "You're weird." I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "You're just weird." I was like, "What do you mean?" Like he's like, "You're just weird." I was like, "I'm just being me." He was like, "Yeah, you're weird." I was like, "Okay, thank you." I guess. And I think yeah, I was like, in the woods I said so many times, it's such a great day to be out and like whatever. And even like running in rain and things like that, it's like I just see a lot of people being so negative about all those things. And it's just like, oh my God, just change it. It's all your perspective. It's all how you approach it, and it's all those things. But I also actually I don't know if you're gonna add this, but like I wanted to talk about how people were supporting like Bryson,
Mhm.
whereas it's like but do you want to include this like boys versus girls thing in our podcast? Do you want
Yeah,
to talk about it?
yeah, I think it's okay for us to talk about because I kind of hit on the experience that I just had with Bryson. I mentioned it where Katia and I ran 100 miles around Ladybird Lake and we finished it. And again, we don't run for, like, the praise and the medals and the this and the that, and, like so when we finished, I wasn't really worried about who was congratulating me and who was patting me on the back. That I wasn't keeping a tally, I wasn't keeping score, like, I didn't even think about who was there to say good job and who wasn't. Of course, I acknowledged the people who said good job, but, like, who wasn't there, I didn't care, right? And then I ran 60 miles with Bryson out of his 100. So I was there for a good chunk of his experience. And at the very end of that experience, he finished, and there was like some of our mutual friends that were boys praise him in a way that was like he was like a god of some sort. Like they were like couldn't like believe that somebody had ran 100 miles, and they were, oh my god, Bryson, you've inspired me to do this. Like I need to be doing more with my life. Like just like this over voluptuous amount of praise that almost seemed, in my opinion, like weird. Like, what do you mean? Like he not that
Mm.
running 100 mile isn't impressive, but I guess kind of like the way they were praising him isn't the traditional way of like, good job, like proud of you. Like it was just like infatuation almost of like so much admiration. And it kinda made me think, like, I'm looking at this guy who's also my friend and Bryson's friend. I did it a month earlier. The guy didn't even he was just like, "Oh, yeah, that's sick. Good for you." Like,
Mm.
and that's fine, and that was good
Mm.
enough at the time. It was only until I saw him praising Bryson in a different way that kinda made me scratch my head and be like, "Huh? What's different or what's changed about this guy's perspective?" And then I was talking to about Katia, and she was like, "Oh, it's because 'cause you're a girl." And I was like, "Huh? Like, are you sure?" And she's like, "No, it's like a girl." And she gave me the example of, like, when girls get hurt, they're kind of, like, more criticized about if they're running through an injury versus if a guy gets hurt and he's running through an injury, they're like, "Wow, our GOAT is showing up as his best warrior," whatever. And so, yeah, it has kinda just been this, like, new conversation of, like, how men and women get treated differently in a space and, like, how it can be perceived one way for a man to do it versus when a woman's doing it.
Yeah, because also I just thought of it. I bet nobody has been in C's DMs saying, "Do you need a coach?" Right? Because C's running mom too, and
Let
I
me
like there's a
see, let me ask him, he's right here. See, has anybody been in your DMs asking you about if they can coach you for Moab? He said, "Nope."
exactly, and that's my point, and I feel like that's a big thing. Like even us running the 100 miles, I feel like there was if a boy would run 100 miles, it's like, "Oh, great, amazing, whatever." And then if a girl runs 100 miles, it's like, "You need to take it easy." And it's the same thing that I was saying to you before, like the people that you surround yourself with. The majority of the time when people were saying like you shouldn't run every day, you should rest, it was men saying that to me. But I bet
Yeah.
nobody goes to like, I don't know, Andy Glaze and tells him that like he's running too much, right?
Well,
Like not to compare us to like us and Andy Glaze is like nowhere near, but like you know what I mean. Like because like even there's this girl, she runs a lot, she's really fast, and she got injured or whatever. And then there's a guy, he's a marathon runner, he runs crazy miles all the time as well. He's being praised all the time, versus the girls being like, "You're doing too much," or like I don't know. If listeners would know, it's like there's Luke Hopkins. He's like a athlete, like he trains like 3 times a day. And then there's Lucy Davis, and she's like a girl and she trains like 3 times a day. For Lucy, there's always, "You're doing too much." Luke is like, "Oh my god, you're the goat," like as you said, like you're doing amazing. And it's just like, I don't know, I have really noticed that, maybe because I'm paying attention to it more, but I have
yeah.
noticed that it's a big thing. Even for me, like people are saying like, "How do you train so much?" I'm like, and it's usually men. And nothing against like men at all. Like I'm not like hating on anyone or anything like that. It's just there's a difference when you, I think.
Yeah, it has been interesting because, when we started this conversation, you were like, "Well, what are the girls saying?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, like not one girl has asked me what happens when it DNFs. Like not one girl. It's always like the guys." And I also don't wanna make it seem like we're talking bad about, like, the men, but I do, like, let's have an honest conversation about it. Like, is it the fact that they're looking at a little tiny blonde girl, 5'1", 120 pounds, saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna run this, da 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 da," and they're like, does it stem some type of insecurity in them? Like, if she could do it, then
Mm,
obviously, of course, I can do it. And so, like, if they watch me do it, then it's like, oh, easy. If she can do it, I can do it. But then if they watch like a man do it, like our mutual friends, they watch Bryson do it, and they're like, "Oh my god, what a man. Like I need to like I have a new bar of admiration that I need to live up to to like prove like I don't know, some type of strength or whatever." I don't know what it's like to be a man, obviously. That's just my assumption of like why it would be treated different and like when the girls talk to me, the girls aren't like most of the girls are just like, "Damn, okay." Like, they're
mm,
just, like, happy to be a part of it. So, with that being said, I just wanna be mindful of where I put my energy because that's what I'm in control of, and, like, even though I've noticed it, I don't want to allow it to obtain too much of my energy because I have never noticed it in the past when I did, like, just marathons. Nobody really made me feel out of the space, but I do wanna say I have been more aware that, like, I wanna do this, like, for the girls. We watched Rachel win the Coco Donut 250, and watching a girl win did change something in my DNA. I was like, "Oh, like, this is insane." And so
mm.
now I have been more of, like, aware of it. Once you're aware, I can't not be aware. So now I am kind of more leaning into the fact of, like, for the girls, which is why am actually partnering with YGIG. We're doing Project Moab shirts, and YGIG is You Got It Girl, and the founder of that business, she was a professional wrestler, or I don't wanna say professional, but she did it in college. What is that? Amateur? I don't know. She did wrestling, and she was, like, obviously one of the few women that was wrestling, into the fact where she even said, like, the clothes she had to wear were boy clothes because they didn't even make women's lines for a sport like that, and she just remembered what it was like being, like, the one and only girl in the space, and that's where she developed You Got It Girl. The business is really unique because she does scholarships for women athletes to pursue their goal, their vision, wherever they're going. She is partnering with me to help crowdfund for Moab 240. And we're making cool shirts. They say Project Moab, 240 miles in the front. In the back, it says You're Strong, Capable, Willing, and it says YG, IG, X Rock. They're really unique shirts. So, with that being said, I just wanna say, like, yeah, it's been on my mind, and then even this was, like, before, like, we already had established we were gonna work together, but then kind of seeing how the girls are, now I'm even more like, "Yeah, like, for the girls, like, let's do this."
Mm. I am so excited for the shirt. I can't wait to wear it. I Do you want to share when they come out or not? But I
Yes.
want like 10 of them so I can wear them all the time.
No, literally, this is gonna be my new mandatory 24/7 uniform. I want to live in this shirt. I'm gonna buy 12 of them in every single size so I can just wear it every single day of the week. I love them. But yes, so pre-order opens July 20th. However, small little insight, on July 15th, I'm taking them to Body Art Run Club and I have 5 shirts in every single size. They're gonna be small through 2XL, and I'm selling them exclusively just for my watermelon community, like my it people who are in my everyday community. So they're gonna have like a exclusive, but for anyone else who doesn't live in Austin, Texas, and it would be ordering online, pre-order opens July 20th.
Okay, well, I might have to just book a flight to Austin so I can get my hands on it quicker. Because I wanted it yesterday.
Yeah,
I
and
needed it last week.
and they're comfort colors, so it's like just like that vintage filling cotton tee. It's
Oh.
very baggy, oversized vibe. So I love it. I'm gonna be racing in it. I'm gonna be wearing it 24/7. I'm just so thankful. I feel like everything is coming together, like the right people, the right places, the right things. So I'm thankful, which leads me into my ending of the podcast. Katia, what are you most grateful for?
I'm always grateful for you. I'm always grateful for my body. I'm always grateful for my mind and like just knowing that like having the opportunity to experience this amazing moment that is going to be more with you and a bunch of crazy people. I guess it's fair for me to call them crazy as well, because like who else just like, okay, I'm gonna come and help you go through the desert of Moab in October. It's crazy to think that this is my life now. When I think back 2, 3 years ago, when I wasn't in a very, great relationship, in a very great place in my mind and my body and my everything, to now being here and being so excited and having the most amazing people around me, it's crazy. I'm very grateful for where life has taken me. I love you. What are you
No.
grateful for?
No, like I said, I'm grateful for the crew. I'm grateful that everyone is like able to come together just to support one person. Like there's one of me and 7 people coming to make sure that
Yes, because
I
we
can take
we
steps
all love
forward.
you. We
No, I know,
love
but
you.
that's
We
what I'm
all
grateful
support you.
for. That's
I
what I'm
know.
grateful for.
Have
So I
you
just think
have
it's
you
like
met
crazy.
yourself? Why? Yeah, have you met yourself? That's why we want to come and like you're amazing.
Yeah, so I'm just most grateful for that, and I'm grateful for everyone who listens to support the podcast and support us on our running journey. Everybody here is what makes up the community and makes it so fulfilling for us to show up for ourselves and for them. So, just if you're listening, I'm grateful for you too. I'm gonna end the podcast on that sappy note. If you want to find Katia online, her Instagram is at alter ego Katia, Kitija. And then my Instagram is at Taylor_Rockwell. You can find us on the Outrun Us Challenges on Instagram. It's at Outrun Us Challenges. And we post every Wednesday for new episodes. You can stream on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. And no matter where you listen to this podcast, please go ahead and give us a 5-star rating if you like this. It helps with sponsorships and getting funding to continue the podcast. And nonetheless, we appreciate you. We're thankful for you. Live, laugh, love. Let's rock.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.